our budget has been cut in one area that is very concerning to me because 15 years ago we instituted, at least 15 years ago I think it was, we instituted mosquito control in this town. And for the newcomers in this town, if you've lived here for over 20 years, you know what it was like to go outdoors and practically be eaten alive. I may look foolish to do this, but since that budget has been cut, I'm going to have to. But anyway, I would like Mr. Moderator to give me permission to do a short presentation to educate our newcomers, but again to brief down some of the newer situations that have come up in terms of insect spread diseases. May I have permission? It was about 5 minutes.
If you keep it down to 5 minutes, Michelle would appreciate it.
Do I have to keep the weights on now?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Fashion statement, and this is, I have to color coordinate. I am not a fruitcake, trust me. I'm one of you. Anyway, for those people who are new to town, we put together a mosquito control project about, Martin, maybe you know better, Martin Barrett. Has it been about 15 years or more? Approximately. We're part of the East Middlesex Mosquito Control Project, and basically they provide several services for us in our town. Public Health Department also provides several services to us. I have made overheads because I didn't have time to do the computer thing, so I'm just going to put the overheads here. I have 3 pages to show you with some important information about what is going on right now in terms of infectious diseases spread by insects. Okay, right now we have an explosive epidemic, and we have a problem right now in the history of the United States, according to our Center for Disease Control. The most dangerous disease, of course, we're facing right now is West Nile. And there's several forms of West Nile that I want you to be aware of. When I did this presentation a few years ago, I actually presented the risk we face with just the general mosquito population. Now we're facing an entirely new problem, and therefore the cut that's recommended in our budget, as small as it is, will impact the mosquito population in North Reading. And trust me when I say impact. So these are the diseases that we're facing. All of them are dangerous. If you can read ahead of me, you have encephalitis, you have meningitis. These are not only produced by regular mosquitoes, but those that are carrying the West Nile virus. And for people who don't know about West Nile virus, it is it's a disease that's carried by birds, and the mosquitoes get infected and go around infecting humans as well as horses. The symptoms of some of the diseases that are carried, not only encephalitis and meningitis, but they're also polio-like diseases, which are irreversible. While you can treat possibly encephalitis and meningitis with antibiotics and hope that some of the people recover, the ones that contract the polio-like disease cannot recover. Those are irreversible. I did give an explanation of the West Nile here. The mosquito that is a particular concern to us that is in the Northeast is this Culex pipiens mosquito. And again, these are a list of other diseases that I went over in my last presentation several years ago. What evidence do we have? These are some of the numbers that you'll be shocked by. I'm sorry? In 2001, these were the number of cases, 60. Look at 2002. We're now up to 4,161 in the United States. That's a huge, huge increase. If we look at the population in our area, the increase of the disease spread in our population, metropolitan Boston area reported 22 cases. In 2002, which is the closest proximity to North Reading, we have towns like Peabody, Woburn, Malden, and I want to include Melrose. I just got an update, by the way, which I will be passing to the Board of Selectmen, an update on the towns and the number of cases that have been reported in 2002 on the Center for Disease Control website. And these numbers are not even accurate because I did get an update today. The death rate, we had 1 death in Woburn. The testing in our areas, yes, we have tested for positive birds within proximity to North Reading. That means that a bird has died, the state has taken it, and it has tested for West Nile virus, which means mosquitoes that are feeding off of this dead bird are biting people around, and your children are in the yards, you're enjoying your outdoor life. Unfortunately, you're at high risk if we cut $7,230 out of our program, the existing program right now, and that is, in my opinion, not a good idea. So what does our mosquito control project consist of? We're part of the East Middlesex Mosquito Control Project, and we, along with them, administer these particular steps to remediate and control mosquitoes. This doesn't 100% eliminate mosquitoes, but it certainly keeps the mosquito population down. So step 1, larviciding, which is probably what is going to be cut according to the project control manager, David Henley. It means that we go into the wetlands early spring and with a helicopter spray and kill as many of the larvae that we can right away before they start multiplying. Step 2, adult mosquito surveillance. This is really important. We have a certain number of traps set around town, and then certain nights we are actually taking mosquitoes from those traps, sending them to the state, and checking to see if any of the mosquitoes are coming back or testing positive for West Nile virus. Step number 3, ground spraying. Now I know a few years ago people were commenting, well, we come along and then we hardly get any spray at all. That's not the case. The spraying is done based on heavy or intense populations of mosquitoes in given areas in the town. So your street may not be intensely populated according to the testing, so therefore you may only get sprayed once or twice during the summer, while other parts of town are getting sprayed a little heavier. By the way, the items that are used for spraying and for larviciding, in effect, are not terribly dangerous to the public unless, I don't know, if you're standing right in front of the sprayer. But in general, they are not.
Louis, I'm afraid that you have 5 minutes.
I'll wrap this up. The ditch maintenance is very important. We go around, we larvicide, we put tablets into the ditch. We also dig out and excavate and keep standing water from accumulating. Standing water is one of the most dangerous things we can have in town. I hope I've made my case. This will require, the amendment that I'm about to propose will require a 2/3 vote. I'm asking that the town take $7,230, reinstate the entire mosquito control project, and let me give you the figures. I move to amend line item 42 under Article 23, Health and Environmental Expenses, to increase the line item by $7,230, equaling a total of $62,825 to be funded through the stabilization fund. We're only asking for $7,230. This amendment is supported by our public health officer, as well as our chairman of our public health, as well as the Mosquito Control Project. Thank you. And I'm going to be passing around these updates.
Motion is Mrs. Lewis to amend line item 42 under Article 23, Health and Environmental Expenses, to increase the line item by $7,230, equaling a total of $62,825 to be funded through the stabilization fund. Signed, Lolly Lewis. Is there a second to the motion? Is anybody? There is a second to the motion. Okay. Does the Finance Committee wish to make a recommendation on the motion to amend? Mr. Jones. He was looking at me.
It's close to us.
Mr. Moderator, the Finance Committee does not recommend. I might make the comment that I was here a number of years ago when the proponent of this article first presented it, and the winds were green, and I missed the molting session. Now they're on. At any rate, I did have a discussion today, Mr. Moderator, with the proponent, and I stated that I believe that the Finance Committee would not support money coming from the stabilization fund, as that's sort of a basic principle of ours. But my suggestion is this: the Finance Committee annually has a reserve fund, and you will find that in your budget to be approved. Of that, there's about $110,000 that we can use for either an emergency or an unexpected situation. The budget was cut this year from the initial request of $32,675 to the $25,445, hence the request for the $7,200+. What my suggestion was that using the emergency or unexpected, either through the health agent or the chairman of the Board of Health, if the conditions later in the year, weather-wise, mosquito-wise, or otherwise, did dictate that this money should be added for health reasons and public protection, that fell within the four corners of the reserve fund, and the Finance Committee would entertain a request to replace that money based upon the health need. Thank you.
Mr. Jones, does the Board of Selectmen wish to make a recommendation? Mr. Murphy?
The Board of Selectmen just voted on this amendment and unanimously voted no. We cannot support taking funds out of stabilization. I'm quite pleased to hear that if an emergency arises from the Board of Health or the health agent could submit a request to the Finance Committee to obtain the necessary funding for the cut that may be incurred by this budget. So I think that's part of the checks and balances and what the reserve fund is for. So we will not support the amendment. Thank you.
Mrs. Lewis, you have already spoken extensively to your amendment, so I will just give you one more minute.
I just want to urge the town to do what they did 15 years ago and vote for this amendment. You did it then, and you can do it now. If we wait until we have an emergency, someone may become ill or someone may die. To me, it's not worth waiting. Emergency is an emergency. This is immediate. This would be put back into our budget now. It's only $7,230. It's important. It's for your safety that I'm up here. This is not a fun and games type of situation. This is really, really important. If we stop lava siding,